Did you already switch it up? All right, yeah, you didn't even know transfer. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the main stage. We are now moving on to the last week before playoffs. I know we have ourselves a little bit of a different scenery going on. You may be questioning well, what exactly is going on, but I can already go ahead and give you a little bit of a wrap-up. I have myself the co-host, Mr. Jaden, otherwise known as UNA Thimble. We have ourselves a matchup going on here for the day of the likes of UNA versus Alabama. It's going to be our fourth seed versus our first seed when it comes around to playoffs. We have to look at who exactly is going to be going to land here in a couple days, or at least next week. And as we go ahead and get ourselves into this game, the first map of the standoff will be Icebox here today. So already starting the defense will be the side of UNA. We're already in agent selection, as you can already see. We have ourselves a little bit of a layout going already, as it seems. So the entirety of the agent selection coming up for the side of Alabama is already set in stone. We have ourselves the likes of Gavin on that own. We've seen the man on it on plenty of occasions. He is outstanding when it comes around to playing that controlling role, even in great content. A little bit of a switch up from KO to Sova. KO, Sova, doesn't even matter. The man can fill that slot. But already Toasty filling those shoes as well. Zen on the duelist, and then Sai playing for the chamber. So as UNA is still trying to figure out what exactly is going on here, we know the roles, we know the players, we know what they're capable of. It still comes down to whether or not they know what they want to do here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I know that we're kind of talking about the match right now, Dallas, but I mean, it's completely different. Get to see your face this time now. Get to see your facial
It's pretty
expressions.
ugly, isn't it?
I mean, hey,
Choose your
I'm
agent.
not. I beg to differ, but anyway, as we were talking there in the middle of it, we will see some picks finally coming out from the side of UNA. We'll see Squib, or Squibby as I like to call him, sitting on the chamber. We're gonna have Vocula sitting on Sova. We're gonna have Guppy on the Viper. And then we're going to have No Money here on the Sage, and we're going to have SPH onto the Jet. So very similar compositions to what they've ran. I know SPH runs a lot of Duelist. I've seen him on the Jet before. Dude is absolutely insane, and I'm very excited to get to this Icebox map.
Yeah, the SPH on that Sage pick, I got to say, I'm a little questionable about because we've seen the diversity when it comes around to Duelist being on Icebox. We know what each Duelist is capable of. We know Jet can excel in these long range. We know you can sit there and play that operator on the defense. But once it comes around to be on the attack, that's where the real differential of Duelists start to go ahead and shine their light on themselves. So, I mean, obviously, Ray sitting on that nade, able to go ahead and flush out areas, being a huge accelerant when it comes around to the A side. Able to go ahead and play around Maze, just completely lock things down and work on what she's got going on. But otherwise, you got to sit there and think about Jet. What does she offer? Well, a couple cloud bursts, a couple tailwinds to get herself on the site. But besides that, what else? And SPH has to manipulate that to the fullest extent to really prove and warrant why he went for that selection over the Rays.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, I think that that SPH definitely has the potential to do it, especially with the amount of stuff that Jet has into her kit. But besides that, we're going to go ahead and get started here on map 1. We're going to have UNA on this defender side, and then we're going to have the side of the Crimson Tide onto the attacking side. It looks like the Alabama will be pushing a little bit more toward a B push, pushing in pretty heavily as they're already getting to point, and Zen gets the first pick right there on the Squib, making it a 4-5.
Yeah, to be expected, obviously. We're going to see the likes of Alabama go for these first picks every single time. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know how to execute that as well. So already No Money here. Peyton able to get that exchange there, get himself onto the board, and great content side following things up as well. A very good hold here on the site. A flawless, darn near execution here for Alabama as they make themselves 4 players still alive to close out this first round. They're going to get the force in the next. They're going to look darn good going in this next one. They want to make sure exactly how they're going to execute this. And as they sound themselves on that site, as they play for the aggression, as they got themselves on the side, they opted for the B, which typically isn't what a lot of teams like to go for. So it's a very, very interesting avenue that they were taking there, but nonetheless, it paid off. And I think, honestly, if anybody's going to know how to make their plays pay off towards the end, it's going to be Alabama 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And something that we've seen completely different from a lot of these teams, Alabama especially, they're very, very aggressive on their attacker side. Yeah. They don't want to wait for that first pick because they know that they can get in there and just get those first picks just like that, and they're able to clear a site within seconds. And just because of that, and as I'm talking, Sai getting the pick right there into Squib falling for the second time in a row, the first pick of the round. And again, with this B push, they're just pushing straight in, already onto the point, almost have full control of the point right now as they send out the sonar dart. They do get one. Guppy will get picked off by Gavin, and Zim will get the pick on a No Money here with the nade. So, like I said, just very aggressive play coming up from Alabama is, again, great content getting a pick right there in Avocula, and we could see a flawless here.
Yeah, not too much to really work with overall. As you just mentioned, the flawless, apparently the Caster's Curse won't strike this time. You go ahead and see that 5-man standing here for the second round to be coming into a conclusion, and already going into the third. This is every single time. I talk about it time on time on time on time, just over and over again. It's going to be the likes of this retaliation round where UNA is going to have to make sure that their hold comes into a full stance. I mean, things have been difficult for them thus far. Those are these 2 rounds, and if they don't end up winning this round, I'm going to say it quite frankly, they're going to be, I'd say, done and dusted for the next 3 at least in a row, because knowing that not only the momentum works out for your favor, but then also Alabama turning things around, able to pick up those guns, say, we now have that for free. We have the econ to buy not only for us, but our teammates as well. It makes things extremely difficult to really follow through with. So as we go ahead, see a little bit of a recon dart be thrown out towards that A main area. Not too much intel is going to be given because why? Alabama is already once again on the B side, looking to rush it right there towards main. They know the wiper wall's up. They have to sit there, move, and maneuver their way around it. But with a couple of picks already coming through and Toasty having that Phantom in hand, this could be the man you're looking at.
Yeah, no, Toasty right there getting a great pick on the Squid, but we did see No Money here get the pick onto the Chamber for the side of Alabama, or excuse me, the Rays for the side of Alabama, so still sitting at a 4-4 as Vocula gets the pick right there onto Psy, making it a 3-4. This time is looking a little bit different. Alabama playing a little bit more patient, and I think I agree with you with what you said on this is a make it or break it round, because after this, I mean, we could see a 6-0 lead, especially if Alabama gets this pick here. We will see the defuse try to go off, but will be taken off. He's going to continue to go on the defuse, but Toasty with the pick right there into Vocula. It looks like it's even out between these two teams. Ooh. SPH right there with a great two-piece, but great content getting the pick right there into No Money. We could see possibly Toasty getting the pick right here, but not getting picked, and also the defuse will be coming off for the side of UNA as UNA gets their first round win onto the board.
A little bit of a difficult round there for UNA, but they end up pulling it out nonetheless. But, I mean, still, I mean, on the board, they only have 2 players surviving it towards the end of that round. They don't have themselves too much of a follow-up buy. I mean, it all comes down to those 2 rifles alone, knowing that you're now going to see the full force of University of Alabama now in this one round coming up. They sat there and full force things out. They have all these guns to back up. They have the money to go ahead and allocate into these weapon buys. But when it comes around to this round specifically, you're going to see that in its entirety. Meanwhile, UNA, they're going to be working with scraps, knowing that they've been either playing from ahead or playing behind now. This is kind of as even as it could get over the course of this game, but even then it still doesn't look very even because once again, having the advantage on the scoreboard, Alabama's once again up when it comes around to the firepower. So once again, they're going to hit themselves a little bit more of a default this time around, but 3 of the players will be looking a lot more towards that side of B because they found so much already, a lot of success in that area.
Yeah, no, and Zen right there, just peeking Kitchen right there, just getting the pick on No Money here. No Money just wasn't able, didn't see him, and Gavin getting the pick right there into Squib. And again, the aggression that comes out from the side of the Crimson Tide, they just continue to just go in. Guppy getting the pick right there into great content, but I don't know what they can do with this retake here as Zen's just completely behind Guppy. Guppy had no idea that he was there, and Zen getting a three kills to his name right now as he gets a pick onto SPH, but Vocula gets the pick on the side to try to trade it out.
And the crazy thing I'm seeing so far is the fact that Zen on this A site, it's not even there. And that's where Rays is supposed to excel. I mean, the guy's playing towards B, able to just work his way across the map. Sometimes working towards mid. I got to say, I like that pressure towards the kitchen area. I mean, that's where you can go ahead and work for those little closed sections and make sure to make the most of it already. We can see Alabama making the most of the scoreboard, making the most of their members that they still have alive. I mean, Vocula now, as we've seen on that KJB, outstanding thus far. Now looking to play a little bit more in a different role on that Sova. And it doesn't seem as if it's working out, really, to the best extent as it seems thus far, because that's another round in the hands of Alabama. Should be the last player standing, but she can find any exit frags in the meantime. A little bit difficult, a couple shots to come out, but nothing in terms of deaths just yet. But even then, Alabama's sitting at a 3-1. This is the stage of the game where the feeler rounds, I like to say, are over. We are now going ahead, chilling out. We don't have the aggression. We don't have the first 2 rounds and the back and forth, back and forth. This is where things start to iron themselves out, and we see the economy switching out, switching up. So as we go along in the game, this is where we're going to have to see a little more diversity. This is where we're going to have to see players switch things up, feel themselves across the map, really make somewhat of a difference to start switching themselves, because we're going to see an over-allocation probably towards B, which, oddly enough, UNA still isn't doing. All by themselves, going to be Guppy over there towards that B side with the full aggression of Alabama coming towards them. Once again, UNA is going to be on the back end, still playing towards A, trying to make a transfer across the map.
Yeah, no, agree. I mean, I think that's definitely something that UNA need to swap it up. I mean, the past 4 rounds, it's just been a B push over and over again. And maybe it's just something that UNA likes, but Showstopper is going to be coming out from Zen. Might be able to possibly get one here. We do see it will go up and not able to get any, but what Toasty wasn't able to do, or excuse me, what the Rays weren't able to do, Cy and Toasty will pick up 2. Vocula will get the pick onto Zen, but Gavin will get the trade onto Vocula. 4-2 right now, and again, I just think that UNA, they need to focus more on this B site. It's been 4 rounds in a row. Granted, I mean, they can swap it up at any time, but why? If you're on the side of UNA or Alabama, why swap it up when it continues to just work the way it does?
I mean, I really can't argue with you there. I mean, if it works, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it is what we like to say down here. So you can already see it's just going to keep on working here for Alabama. 4 players still remaining, and 4th round to go into the board for themselves. And as things start to stride along a little bit more, this is where we sit there and say where the adjustments are going to come out. Well, we can already see them kind of looking to play towards mid. You can see they're obviously kind of having somewhat of a team discussion to say, well, how should we split ourselves apart right now? What should we be doing any different? And I can go ahead and answer that out for you. We need more players here on the B side here for UNA because they have been just giving that joker up and making the job super easy for Alabama thus far. And you can see a little bit more allocation there. You can see a little bit more player influence towards that side of the map. But as they go ahead and move along in this game, they're also putting a lot of influence towards mid now. They're trying to lock that down. They're trying to create a roadblock. They're making sure they can't find the flanks. They haven't been hitting the flank. They haven't been hitting middle at all. They've found maybe 1 or 2 players there, but why do you need 2 players for one when you know that the majority of the aggression is coming right there towards main and it's running its way up once again?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It's been the same story being told over and over again, but half the rounds have already been gone from this. And, I mean, I completely agree with you, Dallas. I just think that they need to allocate more to this stuff to this B side because, again, Alabama, every single round that we've seen, they've gotten the first pick on this B side. And because of that, they're just able to run in just free, and they're able to just get the plant down. So if I was Alabama, or if I was UNA right now, I know that you have some people allocated over toward that A side, but you definitely need to probably put one more person over to this B side because that's a flawless coming out from the side of Alabama, and none of them are down, and you guys are already down in economy. You guys are going to have to swap something up here.
Yeah, that's a really difficult round to watch here if you're a UNA fan as it stands thus far, knowing that you've sat there, you've seen the adjustments be made, and even then I'm sure UNA's kind of questioned themselves up and say, well, we put more players towards B. What do you want us to do? Well, you didn't really put them on towards B. You put them in middle. You put them towards the back, but you didn't actually put them right there towards main to put that influence in the round. So, I mean, what we got to see is, honestly, Squib needs to step up as that chamber. Quite plain and simple. We're seeing Guppy get picked off in the first of the round every single time as that Viper, and you're losing your walls, you're using your cloud, you're losing your snake bite. It makes the job so much more difficult as the game goes along. But Squib, if he was there for a follow-up, a Torty Force right off the get-go, first pick, you go ahead, snap your fingers, you're out of that battle. It makes the job that much easier for him to stay alive. We're not seeing that yet. We're seeing aggression once again on B. I swear to God, man, I'm getting PTSD at this point.
Yeah, PTSD indeed. I mean, I think UNA did make the swap up. Squib will get the pick right there onto Toasty. I did see that 4 in the beginning of that round were already onto that B side.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't know if they're going to be able to stop this Crimson Tide as they just continue to just roll into this point over and over again, and they just get the picks that they need. The first pick in every single round have been going to the side of Alabama, and it is clearly shown right now. But Squib was able to clean up 1 there, but Zen will have 4 to his name from this round alone. Half of the rounds have already been into the favor of the side of Alabama. They just need about 7, or how many rounds? 7 more rounds?
I mean, for at least this half, yeah, I'd say there's about 6 more rounds now, being more on the 7th. So, I mean, we got to go ahead and get ourselves a little strung along. And now that we are kind of a little bit over halfway through this half, or the quarter way through the game as it stands thus far, we got 4 ultimates to work with. We see Alabama breaking down that Torty Force. They're saving that money. They know how many players they got picked off in that last one, so they're trying to just go ahead and save things as much as possible. UNA's the one who's struggling, though, because they still opted to buy. Well, you know, as I say something, of course, Squid wants to ego chow this Torty Force, and it all comes down to now the 2 chambers of whether or not who's going to find that first frag. But the thing is, Alabama's been the first one to do that every single time, and even then, look again, they are pushing towards B. There's 3 players scattered about. They're playing much more closer to the site instead of getting overzealous there from Guppy. So this is a very doable round. Vakia with this dart. You know they are there now. This is actually creating a stall. This is the first time with before 30 seconds, they're not on site. So there's some improvements being made, but that's going to go ahead and force out a couple of these ultimates. The showstoppers pop, but he's not going to find any kills. Instead, that's going to be Gavin and Great Content getting one of their own, respectively, making it a 3v4 now as SPH can make that trade.
Yeah, no, and I mean, as you mentioned, like with that intel that came out from Vocula with that amazing dart, was able to see at least 3 or 4 right there with that sonar dot alone. Guppy was able to just pop the Viper ult straight onto point and just completely nullify it. Now UA is in a bit of a pickle right now. They know that the Viper is probably somewhere located into that Viper's pit. They're going to stick to this B push as they know they have the man advantage. But SPH right there with a great pick on a Toasty as they keep looking for Guppy, and they will finally find him as Gavin gets the pick onto him with 3 to Gavin's name, and Zim will get the final cleanup as well.
I know exactly what was happening there. Gavin saw that man the entire time. Saw the barrel of that gun and said, you know what? I'm going to let him think I don't see him. I'm going to let him think that I am just Jay chilling here trying to figure out what's going on. Otherwise, you do not have a classic out in this situation. He had an entire gun to work with, a Phantom, a Vandal, whatever you need. And he could ask his teammate to come back him up with the Torty Force and say, go ahead, pick on this guy right quick. Whip out a trademark and throw it at his feet for all I care. But still just waiting it out. And honestly, this is a very, very good timeout from UNA, but I will say it's a little bit late now. You've sat there, you've gone through the entirety of this half almost. You only have 4 rounds available now. And even then, with those 4 rounds, you're still working from a deficit in that second half, no matter what. UNA's trying to figure out, okay, well, if we've scattered ourselves towards B, we keep on over-allocating, we keep on doing this, and this. I think, honestly, they should just give a round. Have some kind of an experiment round to work with. They haven't sat there and put nobody on towards A at all because they need to sit there and make these adjustments. If they over-allocate, that's fine. You play for the retake. You're going to be playing attack anyways at some point. Might as well go ahead and get a little bit of a taste of it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that this is a good timeout coming from UNA, just like you said. I think that they just need – I'm glad that they're finally just getting to talk it out because, I mean, if I was on the side of UNA right now, the 8 rounds in total and y'all have only been able to stop them one time, that's definitely a very big problem, and they need to fix it somehow, some way. So hopefully as this timeout ends, they finally might be able to figure something out, just talk it over as the team just tries to figure something out, maybe allocate a little bit more toward that B side. But, I mean, we've said that before, and we've seen all 5 of them on the side of UNA at that B site, and again, Alabama is just rolling straight through.
Yeah, and even then, that one round that they have won thus far was a round where Squib was at least alive for more than 15 seconds. That was one thing I saw in that one round they won, and that's not a consistency here because that variable's already out the window. SPH is gone as well. You're playing defense way behind now. It's 2v4, and we know that UNA's on the save, so we can't freak out and say Alabama's the best team in the country and should be representing us at VCT. We just got to go ahead and sit ourselves back and say, well, as it stands thus far, I mean, we need a little bit more now. I mean, it's a 2v4 situation. UNA, they're not really favored for this one. Vocula does have a Spectre, so she can definitely probably make work of maybe 1 or 2 players as it stands, but I mean, honestly, you got to find a little bit more because Guppy not there in the fight anymore. A 1v4 situation. We've seen Vocula come back from worse. We've seen her do some outstanding things, but with the Spectre, oh my God, she's going to bring us Christmas early if she can work this thing out.
Yeah, no, Christmas indeed. Might be able to get the pick right there into Gavin, but not going to be able to. Gavin will win that gun duel. And 8 rounds to the side of Alabama, and I mean, y'all, the side of UNA, you lost a lot that round. Not really much of an economy, but you did see that the Jet, or SPH, did pop the ult for the Jet there. What able to get a lot. And Squib, I like the aggression come out from Squib. I think that he had I think he had a good idea.
Okay.
I just think Great Content had better aim. If I'm just going to be completely blunt and honest. I mean, you saw it. As soon as he peeked that corner, just a headshot straight onto Squib. He wasn't able to get hardly any damage onto him. There's not a lot you can do in that situation. Yeah. I agree. I think that, I mean, Squib's, situation, like his thought process could have been meet the aggression with more aggression.
Yeah.
And it bit him in the butt, if I do say so myself. But nobody here getting the pick right there onto Gavin, making the first round, but Great Content will get the pick back onto him as we do see the Sova ult will be coming out.
Finally, a first blood coming out for UNA here, and that's what they're looking for. They need some new variables. They need something new to bring to the table. Well, as they go ahead and fill the map out a little bit more so, they realize that Sai is there towards the back, going ahead and saying, well, I'm going ahead and sniffing out your flank. You're not going to let that be an option on my hands as long as I'm here. So go back to that tube, go right back under the middle of the map, and go ahead and get picked up by Great Content, because he'll go ahead. He'll take care of you. He'll make sure you file yourself 6 feet under as fast as possible, just in case you want that quick surface. And there it is, like prime shipping. But Vocula able to go ahead and get an exchange, make sure it's now a 2v3 at least onto the board. But, I mean, it's still a very difficult situation. You get the spike down. You have to find these trades. You have to find these kills. You know all these players are playing back towards main. You can go ahead and pick off 1. So that's a very good start. But how do you split things up now? How do you make an impact in this round? Well, you play with the shock dart. You try to get some kind of intel, but it's just not going to work out because it clutches things up. Able to go ahead and close things out with Sai. Find now a 9th round for the side of University of Alabama as they now extend their lead even more so. And best case situation for UNA is going to be that 9-3, which I'm sure they're probably happy for if they're going to get anything. But you give up 1 more, you're sitting at 10-2, and that's a very, very, very risky adventure they're going to ask for then.
Yeah, not even just a 10-1, but you also need to think about the round after being the last round of the round. I mean, the half, 11-1 stat line could be very detrimental for the side of UNA, especially on this attacker side. They're going to have to play almost perfect Valorant if they're going to want to be able to come back. And, I mean, again, telltale story every single time. UA will just push the B side again, just continuing to just go straight into the point, just being very aggressive as usual. Squib not going to be as aggressive as before this time. Guppy possibly be able to get a pick there, but not. He will be suppressed and will be flashed out. Sai with that operator will get the pick onto Guppy. Though, no money here. Getting 2 picks right there into Zen into Gavin, but Great Content's there to get the cleanup onto no money here.
Well, I will say, as you mentioned, UNA has to play some perfect Valorant. Well, it seems like they're on road for that right now. They're playing some pretty good Valorant, much better than what we've seen thus far. Thing is, they got to step things up a little bit more so to grab themselves like a more round. So already, thing is, when you got Toasty there on the edge, you got Sai towards the back to pick off 1. It's now a 1v1 situation. Toasty towards the back, Squib with nothing but a judge and a headhunter in hand. Man, that's to find a flick like that. To go ahead and get that damage is outstanding, but he's got to get 49 more. That's the kill to come out, and as much as he wants to spray on a body, Chill out there, buddy. That is probably the first kill you've gotten in the last 5 rounds. Let's get that defuse first, get another round on the board, and then you can start contemplating a little bit more so.
Listen, I think that cat emote right there under the wall just said it itself. I think that he just needed to get that. He needed to get that out of his system.
Okay.
Listen, I would feel the exact same way if I was in a comp game and I was getting 9-2'd right now.
I mean, that's fair, but that's just more of like, that's you telling your opponent you're tilting. No, let's be real here.
Yeah, I mean,
that's you telling, you have gotten under my skin, buddy. Let me go ahead and a little spray. That's not gonna do much to me. I'm painting blood over your mother's walls right now. Like, I am adding insult to injury. I'm making this a much more difficult process for yourself. And I mean, as the game elongates a little bit more, we can see some of a switch up possibly coming through. We see somewhat of a default plan towards the middle, and still no A influence yet. So honestly, UNA expecting them to switch things out to play towards A. You put one player towards there. You put players towards the middle. Play for that flank on the B side, and you still put all of the players towards B at the end of the day. You want to make sure that exchange is there. So Swim needs to have that rendezvous there because he's got to back things up immediately. But instead, nobody here can back up that kill, find one of his own, and it's still a 3v4. This is very, very doable for them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. This is definitely very doable for them. Vakula will get the recon dart onto the Raze there. Able to find one SPH with that operator. Will get the pick onto Sai. Great content with an Odin, I will say, getting the pick onto Squid. But SPH right now with this operator is popping off, having the Blade Rod able to go in. They possibly know his location, moving straight toward him. Last man standing. Oh my god!
There it is! An outstanding effort there from SPH. I'm going to go ahead and close out that kill. Get now the 3rd round here on the board for UNA. And I got to say, every single time when I sit there and think of a Jett on the defense, I'm saying, what do they have to do? Well, in the attack, definitely don't break out the operator. Every single time, I'm going to sit there and say, you should not do that. You're not playing with your team. You're not working the aggressor. You're not clearing out that space for your team. But on defense, think about it. Crazy. First round, they break it out. They get themselves a win in a dominant manner as well, and a good one. Sure, it was a 1v1, but I feel like that second player to be alive kind of overextended when you're supposed to be playing with your squad there. Instead, you gave the intel. Thankfully, the man stepped up. If you're a UNA fan, he can close out that kill. But as things move along now, you sat there and said, sweet, we got 3 rounds. We finally found out what worked for us on defense. Well, say your goodbyes, buddy, because you're now on the opposite side of the field. You're now on attack. Make some adjustments all over again, and let's pray it doesn't take you 9 rounds to figure it out this time.
I mean, no, I completely agree, but I mean, hey, if the side of UNA, I'm only seeing positives right now. They got those last 2 rounds in, and it's a lot better. A 9-3 stat line, 9-3 curse is a very prevalent thing in the community from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, they have something in their belt right now. Money right now, economy is not a thing as it is just pistol round, but Toasty getting the pick rather than Vakula. Vakula, you need to make sure that you finish out those kills because a UA again getting that first pick and great content, making another pick right there into no money here. Squib getting the pick right there into Zen, and SPH getting one on a great content, but Toasty will get the trade off onto Squib. Toasty with 3 to his name right now. Toasty's kind of popping off in this pistol round. Ooh.
Oh.
SPH will get the pick right there into Toasty, but Gavin was able to be there to just clean it up, making it 10-3. This is looking kind of dire for UNA. Yeah. I agree. I think that this is definitely something that they need to watch out for. I mean, they have, what, 2-3 rounds left before the match is over. And, I mean, this is only map 1, but being down 1-0 to the side of Alabama is a very, very scary thing indeed. And it's getting to that point where UNA, they're just going to have to throw something out. They might have something. They need to pull something just out of their sleeve if they have anything left in the back pocket.
Yeah, and there are some pros here to discuss. I mean, this wasn't UNA's pick. This was Alabama's pick. So, obviously, they're going to feel more comfortable on this map. They're going to try and close things out as swiftly as possible. But, I mean, 9-3 on a map. We've seen UNA pick Icebox fairly, I would say pretty commonly on here. They don't sit there and completely neglect the map by any means. It's not like this is a foreign subject to them. They have been on this map, and they've looked pretty darn good on this map. But for them to go ahead and get adjusted after this many rounds going by, it's going to be a very, very difficult process to bounce back from. And I think it's still definitely very doable, especially considering they didn't get that first round. They had the retaliation to work with. So long as they keep a lot of players alive in the next round, that's where things really start to unfold to see whether or not they can actually have this story working in their favor. So, a couple more rounds to go, a couple a little more onto the board to be working with here, and even then, only 3 of them are on the side of UNA, 10 of them go to Alabama. So with that knife going out towards middle, UA is trying to feel out what exactly is on the board and where these players can be moving towards, and honestly, UNA is moving right to the middle of the map, able to go ahead. Doesn't even matter about the knife. You sit there, you push on the B, you say, well, if Alabama found some success over here, let's give it a shot of our own.
Yeah, no, and UNA right there is just playing a lot slower than what we've seen Alabama play. They're that very aggressive play. Squid getting that first pick right there, but Sai and Gavin just ending it off. And, man, before we can even say anything, when it looks like it's in UNA's favor, there's 4 picks right there for the side of Alabama, 4 down for the side of UNA. And Squib, even though he got that 1 pick, he now has 4 more for the side of Alabama to go through.
And he's not even going to be on site by the time these picks are allowed to come through. I mean, you can see Alabama toying with him, saying, well, congratulations, buddy. You found that pick, but you're not with your team. You're not on site. You're not playing defense for the spike that you put down. And you finally managed another kill there. But, I mean, what have you done? You haven't really it all comes down, sure, you can grab frags. You can get kills in a game. But the more important factor in a 5v5, that just makes you a pub star if you can grab kills. Congratulations. But the difference between playing and being a pub star and being an actual star in your team is finding frags and finding impact frags. And neither one of those are real impact frags inside of UNA. So that's something they got to switch up to say, if you're going to find these kills, how do they actually translate to progress on a site? How does that play in terms of utility? What is now robbed away from them? And how can I, as a player, maneuver myself around the map with my team but knowingly know where I am to where they can play passively to wait for me to execute whatever plan is coming through? We just did not see that there. So as we now go into the 15th round, we're going to see if UNA has any more change-ups. And honestly, Sai doesn't, because he's going to find the first pick once again.
Yeah, no, Sai getting picked right there. And while you're in the middle of your talk, Toasty getting 2 and Gavin getting 1 more. And again, Squib is the last man standing. Doesn't even realize there's one right above him. I mean, just kind of lost in space right now. I would be too if I was in a 1v4 situation like this, especially with the bomb not being planted or anything like that. I mean, he's just kind of sitting in limbo, just waiting, and especially with only 30 HP left. Getting 1, but Gavin getting the trade onto the other, or getting the trade onto Squib, making it match point for this map 1 for the side of Alabama.
Notice how every single time when they know Squib's the last one on the board, they remember that spray. They sit there and say, let's go ahead and spray 3 times if you're the last man standing. If you're the last man standing, we got the spike right here in front of us, served it to us like a 5-star cuisine. We're going to defuse it 10 times over. Let you know where you at. Where you at? Come on. We want to kill you. We want to spray your body. Do what you got to do.
I'm going to say this because I don't know if this is true or not, but I do think that Gavin was just watching him the entire time whenever he did get that pick on side.
Probably.
I think he was. I think he was just kind of waiting. But nonetheless, match point for the side of Alabama. UNA is going to have to play some perfect Valorant here if they're going to want to do anything. They're going to have to get 9 wins in order to think about anything about overtime. They just need to focus on this 1 round right now. And with the aggression showing, no money here, getting two picks on the Zen and onto Toasty. And we see Squib with the 2 pieces.
There you go.
Making it a 4-1. But now it's in UNA's favor.
It is indeed, and even then, they don't have the full arsenal to back things up, but they can go ahead and pick those up off the ground. We saw No Money here with the Spectre in hand, and he says, you know what, I've earned myself a nice little upgrade, baby. You pick up those guns off the ground that Alabama has so nicely provided to you. You move on to the next round with them, and you say, okay, well, good job, y'all. Find yourself that 8 more times in a row, and you may be moving yourself on into an overtime. So, I mean, as they make now the transfer to this next round, they sit there and look at what game plan they can have across the board. They got to look at what the map has given them thus far. They got to look at what these tendencies have given them thus far. They have to read the situation and make the most out of it. So you got to think, okay, towards B, they've made a lot of plays towards the center of the map. They made a lot of plays towards B thus far. Alabama's probably going to allocate themselves towards that. What is the main hit right now? Well, they have read that out. They said it's going to be A. That's going to be the point of process. That's going to be the exact point we want to lay down the law. And because we have a majority of Phantoms right now, that's going to excel in those close quarters right around the maze as well. We got the middle tripped up. We know they're coming for us. They're trying to set somewhat of a roadblock with all 5 members, but instead, Zen has made work of already 2 of them. Now, Sai's stepping into the affair. Everybody's getting their fair share of blood as it stands thus far. Squib is the last one standing, and he's the last hope for the team, but it's just not going to matter. That's going to be closed out map for the likes of Alabama and a 13-4 manner.
Yeah, no, 13-4, they're definitely a clear stat line for the side of Alabama as they were able to just get the win on Icebox. Granted, I mean, you did say it, that this is their map point. Yeah. There is their map pick. Going into map 2, I believe it is Bind, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah.
So going into Bind, this is going to be a UNA-sided pick, so maybe a little bit more for a proficient side for the side of UNA, as they might be able to get something out of it and possibly make this a 1-1 stat line as we can go to a possible 3rd map.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very difficult venture as we saw, because we sit there and talk about momentum a lot in the Valorant community. We talk about how they can have a lot of influence going into other rounds, but I mean, I think it also comes down to agent selections. We saw Alabama just make so much of the situation, say we're going to hit B again, and I don't know if it was an IGL call, I don't know if it was a team call, I don't know what the process was there, but for them to say, okay, let's hold off, let's sit there, wait 10 rounds, let's see if they keep on doing it then. that's a little bit late to sit there and say, you know what, now let's make that change. So,
yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, honestly, as you can already look at the scoreboard, you can see what's provided to us. I mean, Zen sat there fragging out of 18. We know what he had to provide there on the Rays, playing that duelist role almost perfectly. And the top frag for UNA, sitting at the 5th on the board collectively as 4 members from Alabama were topping over him. That was going to be Squib at 12 and 14, so good job, buddy. There's your spray for the game is on the scoreboard, but what much does that do for you when you know you're down 1-0 in the series, and you got to bounce things back on your map pick?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, looking at the stat line, you said 4 of the 5 players sitting at the top 4 of the leaderboard for the map as a whole, all 17 rounds, and just Zen, Gavin, great content, Toasty, and I mean, not to mention Sai. I mean, he wasn't able to get the picks as much as the other 4, but he definitely did play his part, especially playing on that chamber, getting the ultimates, and we saw him popping off with that operator.
Yeah, and even then, we saw him. The reason he didn't have as much relativity in the fights because we saw it on one of those rounds. He was playing towards the flank. He was playing towards A main, saying, okay, are they going to come for a flank? Are they going towards the back? He was setting for that every single time.
Yeah.
He found at least 2 kills off that positioning alone, saying, I believe my teammates. They can 4v5 this all day. I'll just go ahead and chill. I probably got a homework assignment I'm doing in the meantime. It's no big deal. But regardless of that all being said and done, we do have to go ahead and set up the second map as we're already getting ourselves into it because we are loading in it right now. And already, agent selection coming out. See what we got to provide. We're going to go ahead and give you a little bit of a taste because the map is loading up. And here we go, people. We have ourselves looking at the likes of a couple picks already coming through. We got Guppy once again, now switching things up. Instead of playing on a Viper and a Controller, we have him on a Raze instead, playing one of those duelist roles. We've still got Squib on the chamber. What does this guy think he is? Wardell playing it on every single map? You got to sit there and find something new, buddy. But instead, we do see some of a switch up out of Alabama. A little bit of a role switch up and an agent switch up as well, but still nonetheless relatively same of what we saw earlier.
Yeah, we will see very similar picks coming out from the side of Alabama. We will see Sai again on that chamber, but looking at the side of UNA, we have a couple changes. SPH will be hovering over the Jet. That is the last pick for this map to be going in, and that will be locked in. So SPH and Squib, I believe, are the only 2 that are the same picks. We do see No Money here is going to be sitting on this Brimstone. Guppy is going to be swapping over to a Raze, and Vocula on that KJ that you mentioned before.
Yeah, I mean, so somewhat of a switch up, obviously, to be expected. No, it's a completely different map, completely different play style. Viper doesn't have as much, I'd say, dominance when it comes around to likes of buying, but still relevant nonetheless. That's what we could see Gavin on that one. But, I mean, even then, great content in the Brim. We're seeing the double controller being broken out here for Alabama. That means they're working to just cut off sight lines. They know how narrow this map is. They know how much of a pain it is to get onto a site because of how narrow these sight lines are. Yeah. And now you can literally just be flushed out. That's why Raze is the go-to duelist on this map, plain and simple. And that also brings me another point looking at UNA, running that double duelist. We need to see complete, utter aggression out of them. 10 times out of 10. I'm talking every single round off the get-go. We're going to have to see that Jet just completely tailwind in. Complete disregard for their life. Who cares? Have a Raze blast pipe behind them. Even if you're running a classic, doesn't matter. We know how strong the right click in the game is, so it doesn't even matter there. You can go ahead, turn it into a shotty. It's almost darn near as good as a shorty if you have 2 players doing it at the same time. So already, Toasty set up with somewhat of a different gun, running that Frenzy, it seems. So, I mean, that could be a free gun picked up as an incentive to say, all right, this is our reward. Now let's go ahead and get a spike down as well to back it up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree. Definitely with that double duelist, they're going to have to play aggressive, and I believe that they're going to be pushing over here toward this B site, just pushing straight in. I don't really see all that much coming out. Toasty is going to send a flash out, not going to be able to really find anything off of it. And again, like you were talking about with that double duelist, the aggression looks like it's going to be coming out from the side of UNA. Vocula's already getting a plant off with only like 5 to 10 seconds gone from the round, and I mean, just like that, they're able to get the plant off, but in the midst of that great content, we'll get the pick off onto No Money here, making it not look all that good, but Vocula able to clean it up, but Sai getting the pick right there into Squib.
This is where Vocula starts to excel. When you put this girl back on KJ, he says, thank God! Because you know what happens in a situation like that? You don't find too many picks against the likes of Alabama, but you at least get some more than what we saw in that first round on the last map. But a teammate comes out for Alabama, first round to back it up as well. You only lose 1 player in the process, and you say it doesn't even matter anyways. You're going to be bringing out the force here. You're going to buy these Spectres. You're going to buy these Marshals. You're going to buy the armor to back it up. But I feel like UNA having now that KJ, when it comes around to the defense, that's when we're going to see Vocula start to excel. Because this girl, when you give her a Phantom, when you give her a Vandal, when you give her a side all to herself, herself. She says, you know what, I'm somewhat of an introvert myself. I like my space, I like my rooms, and she'll fight literally limb for limb for it, and she does a pretty darn good job at it.
No, I agree. I definitely think that on this defensive side for UNA, once they finally get there after this first half, they will have a lot of power, especially with that KJ. But the problem with that Dallas is that they are going to have to be able to get to that defending side with having a good stat line. Going into it with a 9-3 like they did last map might not be good for them. They need to try to find something to even it out at least. And Sai says something otherwise. He gets the pick on Avocula, but trade will be coming out. And Toasty with the judge getting a three-piece, leaving only SPH remaining for the side of UNA.
You can see what SPH is doing. I mean, the man's lurking right through the middle of the map. He's already gone ahead and infiltrated, but it's just not going to do all that much. He's all by his lonesome. He's a lone survivor and doesn't really have too many guns to work with. So we were expecting UA to win that round right there, knowing they had themselves some better weaponry. They're going to set up for it. And when you see UNA losing that gamble, hitting the site where you see the majority of the players, the rotate was instantaneous. They said we don't even really need to rotate if we got to, because when you see Toasty with that judge grabbing a 3K, you're like, all right, you know, they obviously have the numbers advantage. But this is the round that really starts to matter for UNA. How do you start to pan yourself out once again? I mean, this is always a question we got to ask. And they're going to be hitting that B side again. They know they had a lot more success towards the site, but they'll start a pistol round. You got to sit there and hit them hard. You got to find these guns out of the hands of these players, make sure to get at least one pick off. And there it is. You get at least one. You get yourself two, actually. So that's a really good stand. But Sai says, I know you sat there and worked really hard to make sure you had the numbers advantage, but just like the snap of that, it's gone once again. A 3v3 at our hands, or a 3v2, excuse me. And UNA is actually in the, I'd say, the bitter end of all of that, because they're sitting with the 2. They're the ones who had the buys this round, and they just gave all those guns over to these UA players. Honestly, University of Alabama is going to give them that A side. They say, you know what we want? We want the guns that have been dropped on the ground instead. That's going to have a much bigger impact over the course of these next rounds than just letting you plant the spike, because congratulations, your 300 credits doesn't compare anywhere to the free 290 that we just got.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. And SPH, a little bit too aggressive there, just sending herself straight up into the air and getting the pick is Gavin. And he's finding those darts coming in from the KJ. Bakula's going to be sitting here, maybe be able to get the pick, but is not going to be able to, as Gavin does win that gun duel. And, I mean, Dallas, I don't know what to say, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, they've tried both things. They've tried to play the aggression. I mean, but definitely playing a little bit more toward that A side on that second point, or that second round. You're going to have to be able to make sure you check every single one of those corners, because if not, you're going to get 3 picks with a judge, just like how that happened.
And even then, we're not seeing a lot of influence towards side with the aggression right off the get-go, because here is the biggest thing. Because I didn't really want to talk about it, because I don't like to go ahead and give teams too much crap for what they do off the get-go. I want to see how they start to work things out. Let's look at the likes of UNA and what they have to provide so far. Let's look at this attacking side and see what they got. Well, I can tell you one thing they don't got: an initiator. They don't have a Sky. They don't have a Sova. They have no intel whatsoever. So we talk about introducing yourself on the site. You're not even seeing who's inside before you knock on the door. You're knocking on a policeman's house, the chief, the sheriff of your town, for all I care, and he's going ahead and meeting you at the door with a shotty. And every single time you lose that fight.
Yeah, and not even just that, but without having an initiator, that leaves it up to the duelist, that leaves it up to the Jet and to the Rays for the side of UNA to have to be the ones to initiate, because they have all the power. They are the offensive characters for the side of UNA, and they're going to have to be the ones to push. And if they're the first 2 picks in the round, that just completely halts the side of UNA. And as we're in the middle of talking, UNA still at a man's disadvantage, excuse me, as Gavin gets a pick right there, and Zen with 3 to his name this round, getting the pick right there with the grenade onto No Money here, leaving Squib alone sitting in hookah, and Zen getting a 4th, adding 1 more to that tally as he gets a pick right there on the Squib, making it 4-0 for the side of this defending side of Alabama.
And I gotta say, man, every single time I see UNA get themselves onto a side, I just tense up a little, because I'm like, what are you gonna do? I mean, it all comes down to, do you have flashes to go ahead and give yourself an introduction? They can't do that. There's literally no initiator to get in those flashes. That's a huge problem. Well, if you don't have flashes, you're going to blind pick them. So, do you at least have that intel to back up to say, all right, well, where are we swinging? What are we looking at? Yeah. Even they don't know. That makes the job very, very difficult for them to say, well, what are they doing? How are they going to be approaching these sites? They are literally, quite plain and simple, just blind picking into everything, not knowing what's going to be thrown at them. And they get met with 3 players every single time, because they're almost pulling on a slot machine that says you lose no matter what. You're just rolling for you're rolling for something better, but no matter what, you're still losing. You're saying, am I getting clapped by 5 players, by 3 players, by 2 players, by 4? I don't know.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the roll of the dice.
And I mean, just like that, we were talking about the power of initiators, like Sky right there, as we were seeing able just to send the dog out through bathroom right there, and she saw 2, and making UNA just having to kind of back off now and just kind of play still a little bit more stationary. And this is the one thing for the side of UNA that we did not want to see, and that is non-aggression.
Yeah, it's really sad to see so far. I mean, you can already see him being held up in towards main, and we sit there and know the impact of bind and how narrow these sight lines are when getting yourself onto site, and that's really choking him up so far. But great content does find a trade there out of Squib to get another kill as well. This is the Brimstone gone, but you need these controllers for the attacking side. You're not really too worried about it. Great content's already gotten all of his smokes down, so this is a good standing for him. But when you look at UNA, they just lost another player. Gavin grabs 2, makes it now a 2v3 for this retake, and when you see the showstopper coming out, that's going to go right towards main to clear out that space with his defuse.
Yeah, no, definitely going to go out there, just try to clear something out, just able to get something. But SPH did get that pick over there toward bathroom side. I don't know if UA knows that he's there. It looks like that they probably do. If they do peek it, and Gavin's just there as soon as he crosses the corner with 3 to his name for this round, making it a 5-0 line. And Alabama continuing to just add up to that economy, just continuing to add up that money over and over and over again, making this defensive side almost like a brick wall as UNA just tries to continue to just try to push through, try to brunt force it over and over again. They tried to slow it down last round, but they were able to get those first 2 picks. But Alabama, their gunplay is just insane.
Yeah, and I think that's the brick wall is a really good comparison there. I think it comes down to the kind of agents. That's the difference where when you're on the defense, you have yourself either a brick wall or an electric fence. One you can see through, one you can't.
Yeah.
One hurts you on contact, one you have to go ahead and put a little bit more emphasis on before you really start to break it. So I think the brick wall is a little bit more definitive of what Alabama's representing here than electric fence. And when you see that, sometimes if you hit a brick wall hard enough, you're not going to get any impact on it. You're just going to hurt the living shoot out of your fist, and you're not going to be able to go back. And that's exactly one player right now, and Svakula is the prime example of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Just an unlucky situation right there as we did see the Chamber just able to get the pick, able to just poke right out of that corner and just able to get his pick. And again, Alabama just playing very stationary. Only down, or UNA, excuse me, playing very stationary. Only 1 pick is just gone, making it a 4v5. They could possibly get some more trades off here. They do know, Squib does know that there is one sitting in teleporter room right now, and they're just kind of stuck. I don't know if it's because of the guns that they have. We do see that Guppy did have the judge in hand, but I mean, besides that, there's not really a lot they can do. Zen will get the pick right there into SPH, and no money there, or no money here will get the pick trade off onto Zen.
Is sitting in a 4v3 situation. You see UNA, they don't have the spike down right now. They're trying to figure out what exactly is going on and where they can find themselves some aggression. Well, they're playing towards the B side. They're hanging out right there in the middle of the map, but you can see on one side of the play, you got Sai sitting on the other side of that door saying, okay, well, what exactly are we going to do here? How are we going to make this play? Well, I kind of want to. I'm going to be quite frank with you. I know darn well he makes it want that swing, but already instead, Gavin's going to be taking the range right now. Able to find one of those kills. Great content with another. It all comes down to a 1v4. Well, excuse me as I make my point. I am going to be corrected. A 0v4 as Alabama finds their guaranteed even half here for the entire half, at least in this game, in this map thus far. But I don't know if there's really going to be too much of a switch up. I mean, the one round we saw UNA grab initially to get that rally off of in that last map was round 3. When you had the rifles, you know your opposition either has judges or specters or a marshal or whatever it may be. That round did not work out for them this time. So I'm trying to sit there, and I'm sure they're probably thinking the same thing. If we couldn't even find an advantage when it was guaranteed to us by the game, how are we going to just scrap one together?
Yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree. And one thing that I like to say, and listen, I'm a UNA student. I'm here at North Alabama Game. Yes, we're both kind of not. We're trying to do our best to just not be biased. But one thing I would have to say for this UNA side is, UNA, please check your corners. Some of these kills that the side of UA are getting, they just almost look like you're throwing your life away. Guppy right there on that B side last point or last round just looked like he threw his life away, threw the gun and all that econ away. And again, just like the 3v3, scratch that, make it a 3v2 is Sai sitting right there on the operator, and Toasty getting 2 on a no money here into Vakula, making it at 7-0. 7 of the 12 rounds in this half are down, and 7 of the 12 rounds have all gone to the side of Alabama.
Yeah, and it's always kind of what you said. I say a lot of the time on main broadcast saying the 2 biggest rules, and they rhyme, so you know they kind of go together, is check your corners and protect your borders. Yeah. You got one hierarchy rule for each side to say this is the tip of the top of the rule. Protect your borders and check your corners. On attack, check your corners. UNA's not really doing that. Protect your borders. Alabama right now, they're not just protecting their borders. They're protecting the entirety of their land. Yeah. I'm talking top to bottom. They're not even letting them get over, but when they do, they say, we know where you are. We're just letting you live a little bit longer.
Yeah, and just like that with that aggression, Gavin just popping the Viper wall or Viper ult just straight right there onto B main, just not or A main, excuse me, not able to get a lot, and Zen just sitting in the middle of that smoke, getting one onto Squib as they know that the near side activation is going off if they're in the middle of it. And great content. Here's one sitting right there into Showers. Might be able to sit it, but he's going to play very patiently. And again, Alabama or UNA, check your corners because that's 3 going in for the side of great content. And all you had to do was just look to the top right because again, that right there is a clear definition of what exactly you were just talking about. You have to check your corners and you have to protect your borders, like you said. And we're seeing one of those two things definitely being played out right now.
Yeah. We're seeing one being done definitely better than the other as it stands. I mean, I would typically freak out in a situation like that, but, I mean, if you're seeing these teams be on the same kind of playing field, if you know that they're checking everything and it's just one slip-up, and that, for some reason, that one window, that's when the slip-up comes when somebody's actually sitting there, and every single other time they check it when nobody's there, and you're saying, oh, well, that was just unfortunate.
And not even just that, but also, like, great content didn't even get all 3 picks at the very beginning there, had 3 of them looking straight at them, and again, just what is this positioning coming out? I mean, UA again with that aggression, but now not on attack, but now on defense on this bind side, and just like that, 9-0.
And it's just like, next thing you know, man, it's right. Your game is right in front of your eyes. Your game is going away right before your eyes. Your entire series is flashing right before your eyes. Your life isn't flashing before your eyes because UNA doesn't have any flashes. But, I mean, besides that, they still have to make some light of the situation. They have to find something here. They do have 3 ultimates, and they're pretty aggressive ones, I would say. You can use Vocula's Cage to go ahead and shut down a site, say, okay, I can flush players out, and I can make work of what's at us. You find yourself the showstopper, you have an orbital strike for the post plant, you have at least one ultimate to work with every single check of the process of the way for each stage of the game in a Valorant lobby, but, I mean, they got to at least make sure to fight for this first one. And Vocula, when they sit there and see, they obviously have some kind of hunch in their hands right now to say, we don't want to go ahead and push on the A side. Why? Because you see what you're dealing with. Guppy grabbing that first pick is essential. I don't care how many players are on side. You get that first kill and you got hookah control, you have B side. Plant this spike, defend it with your life, throw down your ultimate so you can at least manage one here.
Yeah, no, and just like that, Vocula will be throwing that KJ ult down, and we will see the orbital strike also, but Psy just sitting there in below, just sitting there with the operator just getting 2 right there, having 3 to his name, and Toasty getting the pick right there into SPH and getting another one right there into Vocula. UNA, you had the right idea. You had the right idea. You were able to get in, able to get those picks. Guppy with a great pick right there into Hookah, just giving them complete Hookah control, but nobody went that long side. And because of that, they had Psy sitting there with the operator, and because of that, there was 3 picks back to back to back. Just like that, completely flipping this over to the side of Alabama's favor.
And it's because of initially they didn't sandwich them. They didn't force Psy back into sight where they could go ahead and contain him. What they did was they let the massive hole around the edge of the map. He made that loop around. Everybody was on site because UNA hasn't experienced touching a site within 10 rounds now, so they're saying, okay, well, we need to chase the guy out. That doesn't happen. What happens is as though a little bit of an exchange there towards the middle of the map. You see Zen grabbing one, Squib grabbing one as well, and both teams at least sitting at a 4v4 until now Gavin likes to say, you know, I don't introduce myself into the party. Finds one of his own and is sitting at a 4v3, and you see somewhat of a switch-up coming out for UNA, and right there, Vocula to nail those shots right off the get-go. It makes the process that much easier where great content doesn't even have to see his prey in order to kill it.
Yeah, no, not even just see him, but able just to get the pick off. But no money here will get the trade, and they do still have the bomb, as bomb is finally getting planted right here onto this A side. But 3v2, and Psy not able to get the pick with the operator, something we're not used to seeing, as SPH did get it, but it doesn't matter as Alabama gets those last 2 picks with Toasty and Gavin just clearing out the field right there, making it 11-0, 1 round left in the round, and 2 rounds left for Alabama to then make it to the land.
This is just hard to watch, man, at this stage, quite honestly. I mean, we sit there and look at the conclusion of halves, and we're saying, okay, well, you know, 9-3, this is doable. 8-4 is doable. Anything from 6-6 to 9-3 is extremely doable. Anything past that, sitting at 10-2, 11-1, which would be the best-case situation for UNA right now. It's extremely hard to say with a positive attitude to work with. I mean, I think they're saying the same thing right now. They're saying we have to play perfect Valorant. I mean, not perfect Valorant. We have to show the pros how to play this game, for God's sake. So we just can't lose anything. And that's extremely difficult at this point in time.
And not even just that, but, I mean, just show up to the match.
Fair.
I love everybody on this team. Squib getting an amazing pick right there into Zen, but showing an 11-0 stat line right now and only being in the first half, I mean, it just looks like you just haven't shown up, and great content just kind of showing it right there into Squib, and the aggression will come out. Guppy will get the pick right there into Judge, getting the trade-off onto great content, and no money getting the pick right there into Gavin. Sai will have that turn. Oh my God! But it doesn't matter. He did get the pick. That was a nice no-scope. I will say that myself. The SPH right there was able to get the pick off. Toasty getting a little bit of that damage coming out from the turret. They know where he is because of that turret's placement, and now they make it a 1v3 situation. UNA, please do not mess this up.
I think if they keep on peeking one-on-one, they most definitely will. I mean, Toasty has flashes, and that's the power of an initiator. If he gets this pick, it's because he has flashes. He can turn around, he knows a player's there, and he grabs the third here for the round to close things out for Alabama. That is a 12th round, a flawless round for them. And who is the one to not only start every single round, but finish the entire half as well? Who is it? It's the one single agent that UNA is missing right now. An initiator, flashes, a way to get on the site, and that's why they couldn't do it in the entirety of 12 rounds of this half.
Listen, man, I feel so bad. I feel like commentator's curse definitely struck there, and I kind of wish it didn't. But nonetheless, nothing much you can do about the past. 12-0 stat line, and like you said, UNA going to have to show the pros something if they're going to want to be able to get through this and potentially make it to the land. Because, I mean, Alabama's already up one map. They only need one more round, and then they're being sent to Birmingham next weekend.
If UNA can bounce back and go to a land at this stage, instead of going into Birmingham, I'll buy them tickets to Iceland at this point for all I care. I'm willing to put my wallet on that one. I'll go ahead and drive to the nearest bank and make sure they can track my credit score. It's perfectly fine for it, but I don't know if that's really going to happen as we look at the results right now. Alabama just literally has to win this pistol round, and they get themselves a secured spot to Birmingham as it stands thus far.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. Definitely, pistol round has definitely been something. I would say the entire match as a whole has just been in the favor for the side of Alabama, but pistol rounds as a whole, especially, Alabama definitely knows how to play, especially on this offensive side. SPH will get the first trade, get the first pick off, but will get traded off by Zen. That's a really good first pick coming out, and Vocula able to get another one right there on the Toasty, stopping the amount of the amount of influence that he has on the map. Nobody here getting the pick right there into Zen, and it's just trade after trade after trade, and now it's great content versus Squib. Last man standing, and Squib will get the pick right there with the shorty. That's at least one round for the side of UNA.
I mean, yeah, let's go.
Listen,
the spray comes out and everything, man. Of course it's Squib. Of course it's Squib.
Listen, and I'm gonna take my personal wins where I can. That one round was the best round I've ever seen in my entire life. I will say that right now.
Well, I've seen you have better clutches than that. Like, dude, you would be cracked enough to pull off something like that. I know you've done something better like that.
All I'm gonna say
in the flesh.
All I'm gonna say is that a possible 13-1 is better than a 13-0.
That's fair. It shows you at least tried, because, I mean, sometimes we can say, you know, the score line and map count is 2-0, but, I mean, we could tell that the team's at least tried. But, I mean, if you sit there and go to the scoreboard, check the receipts, you're like, they lying to us. They're definitely lying to us, but, I mean, still, one round the board, still better than nothing, as you mentioned, and that also gives them a force here in the second round. So this could be a 2-12. This could be a 10-round differential, but problem is, Gavin's already grabbed the first kill with the Sheriff, and honestly, he's going to grab another one as well.
Yeah, and that Ares that Squib did pick up after that first round, killing his bank account, but doesn't really matter, especially if this is being the last round. And Gavin having 3 to his name could potentially get an ace as he has 4. And knowing Gavin is knowing, especially this UA side, they're probably going to, having 4 left, they're going to probably try to give it to Gavin for this ace. But looking very dire for the side of UNA as they do have 1 left, and Gavin will get that ace, making it a 13-1 stat line on Bind. And I mean, we talked about at the beginning of this, man, that, you know, this could have been something potentially in the favor for the side of UNA, and this was their map pick.
Yep.
And they played better on the Alabama map pick. But, and then just looking at the scoreboard right now, all 5 players to the side of Alabama just sitting at the top of the leaderboard, just completely insane. Gavin right there just with 18-4 stat line, just completely just controlling the game as a whole. I mean, we were talking about the initiators and all that stuff, but man, that was a really good showing from the side of Alabama. And Alabama, we will be seeing you guys on Sunday, or next Sunday, excuse me, at the LAN. But I don't really have a lot left to say about that.
I mean, I definitely have. I could definitely go on a tangent about this. I know we don't have the world, you know, to go ahead and talk about every single aspect of that game, but I mean, the initiator, that was the biggest thing right off the get-go. I didn't want to sit there and mention it when it came right to agent selection, because I mean, we saw that UNA was trying to think about it. They were sitting there trying to contemplate. I was like, maybe they're going to whip something new out here. Maybe they're going ahead, trying to secure their spot for LAN and say, we can go ahead and whip this out right now. It's our bounce back round. It's our map, our selection. So surely we'll go and clutch things out, right? That's definitely not what I was expecting, but, I mean, still, it's a scoreline nonetheless. That's what we got to hand it to us. So, I mean, going forward now, UNA, I think, honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory. You need at least one in every single role. We don't see double duelists without a single initiator. We sometimes could see double initiators because KO can kind of fill that duelist role. Nobody really cares about that too much. We don't see it very often, but it's still definitely doable because he has a knife, he has himself, the ultimate, which is almost like Reynas. He has a fragment grenade, he has a way to deal damage, he has a way to flash, he has it all literally within that one kit. But, I mean, when you're sitting there running two duelists, unless you're running a Reyna, then that could be the exception. Having every single kind of utility at your disposal. But flashes alone, not being in the game, never getting on a site, I think those go 2 and 2, and I think you can figure out exactly with the results here today why that is.
And not even to put salt on the wound or anything, but they put no flashes straight into attacking side. And that right there, I mean, not able to clear corners without having to peek and possibly lose your life. And I mean, 9 times out of 10 when we saw the UNA side peeking corners, Alabama was the one coming out in the victory at the end. And UNA, back to the drawing board for them. But nonetheless, we're going to take a quick intermission as we get set up for this next match, excuse me, as we're going to have USA versus Auburn Esports coming up here shortly. We'll see you guys soon.
hey, everybody, we're going to have to end the stream due to a bit of time complications. We'll be back at 9 p.m. tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching.